Welcome back to the Black and Gold Standard Podcast. Today we still in the dog days of the summer. There's not too much going on in the NFL right now. Actually, there's nothing going on in the NFL right now. It's a few little things, but for the most part, everybody is on vacation and enjoying their last few days of vacation that they have before they start this grind that's going to take you all the way, or hopefully take you all the way up to the middle of September. Excuse me, the middle of February. What I'm talking about. So, with that said, let's kind of get in right into it. So, what we're gonna get into today, we're gonna talk about the AFC North, just some of the things that's going on with some of the teams, and just some of the news, at least the latest news that came out of you know um, these teams' camps. So, with that said, let's get right to it. So, like I say, we're gonna talk about the AFC North, which there's been a lot of changes. There's been a lot of changes with pretty much with all the teams, especially um with the Steelers and the Browns, I guess you could say. As far as quarterback, it's been changes. With those teams. Baltimore, for the most part, kind of stayed packed. They made a couple of additions, and actually, I think they made a big one just less than a week ago. Cincinnati is still dealing with some issues as far as getting some defensive players into camp and getting them signed. So we'll see exactly how that works out for the Bengals. But with that said, let's get right into it. So we're gonna start off with the Pittsburgh Steelers. For the most part, it's been kind of quiet lately for the Steelers. Um, the big thing is still is TJ Watt. Will TJ get signed before camp start? I'm gonna say probably not. Um, I was one of the persons that thought that he would be a candidate for the hold in, where he would report to camp, but wouldn't do anything until his contract was signed. But I don't really feel that way now, especially when he didn't come to minicamp, because I thought he would come to minicamp, but when he didn't come to minicamp, that kind of let me know where this is really stand the stance that he's making. And I think him and the Steelers are, I think they're kind of far off from what he want to be paid. And I think TJ is he gonna hold by his gun. So I do not expect him to even report the mini camp. I mean the training camp, unless unless they ain't worked on a deal that maybe they just working on the language of the deal, and as soon as they get that language done, it's a done deal. That's the only way I see him coming to camp. Other than that, if they're still in the negotiation phase, I do not see him reporting to camp, and who knows how long this could go. I don't think it will go into the season, but he might miss a lot of time in camp. But we will see. But I'm gonna say right now, TJ Watt does not report to training camp. The next thing that was kind of buzzing around the Steelers is maybe making a trade for Jalen Ramsey. My opinion on that. I mean, I would love to see it. No, don't get me wrong. I would love to see it, and actually, I think this is something they need to get done. But with that said, I don't see it happening. Um, First, I think Ramsey wants to get back out to the West Coast. Probably want to get back to the Rams. Um, so that's the first thing, and then secondly, I just don't see the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, you paying Slay $10 million. You bring Ramsey in, just depending on what the Dolphins would say as far as how much money they would pick up of his contract. But you might be have to if the Dolphins pick up some, maybe they'll pick up half. So that's almost still paying him 10, $11 million a year. I just don't see the Steelers paying him 10, Slay 10, and then Slay will probably really be pushed back to being the slot corner. And at this age, do you even want to put him in the slot? But I just don't see it happening. Like I say, I would love to see it happening. I think it's a move that really needs to happen, but um, I keep reminding myself and a lot of other people that this is the Pittsburgh Steelers we're talking about. So I don't see them going all out and getting Ramsey. So I just don't think that deal will happen. And so that's really about the only news that's coming out of Pittsburgh right now. So with that said, let's move on to the next one. Cincinnati Bengals. Well, Cincinnati Bengals, they struck a deal with Hamilton County to stay in Cincinnati to 2036 at least. I think it ended up being 470 million dollars. I think it was like $470 million that the county and the Bengals have worked out. I think the Bengals actually gonna put about $120 million in this deal to fix that stadium up a little bit more, and put some more modern things in there. Which what I don't understand is why Cincinnati is not getting an indoor facility, which is crazy to me. But if I mean anybody that travel 71, if you get on 71 at the right time, right before going over the bridge over to Kentucky, you can actually see the Cincinnati Bengals down there practicing right outside there. So I don't know. They might have a bubble now, but as far as the indoor facility, they do not have. So I don't know if some of this money gonna go to something like that, or they're all just going into the stadium. Probably just all going into the stadium. But that was a little bit of news. Um, will they get their deal done with Henderson before camp? I don't know. I think this situation is kind of ugly actually, and I, who knows what's going on there. I think a lot of I think the Bengals probably want to pay him between 28 and probably the high end is about 35. I think somewhere around in there. But he's 30. He'll be 31 before the end of the season. And I think that's a lot that's working against him. And I really don't really think Cincinnati want to pay him in the 30s. I think if the idea for Cincinnati would be 28 to 30 probably, but I think they probably could go as high as 35. But we'll see. And this who knows with the Bengals. I mean, this could actually go right up into the first game of the year. So I would not be shocked if you don't see him at training camp at all. Um, the Cleveland Browns. Wow. Well, this is crazy because this kind of affects me a little bit because I'm actually in Cleveland. But the Cleveland Browns are getting a new dome stadium. It should be completed in 2029. The state has just did their budget, and their budget $600 million for the Browns. Um, as part of their um, stadium bill. I think the stadium actually is 2.2 billion or $2.4 billion. It's going to cost to build. Um, the Haslam Group is putting in $2 billion of private money and their money. I know they just bought the land that it's going to sit on because they're building a whole big complex. So not only is the stadium, it's tons of parking, but they're building a complex where it's gonna have hotels and restaurants. I mean, it's gonna be a real nice thing. And what they've done is, if anybody flew into Cleveland or been to Cleveland before, it's right across the street from the airport. Basically, it used to be an old Ford factory, so they tore that down and they bought that land. So that's thing. I think that's one of the reasons why it has to be a dome stadium because, like I said, it's right by the airport. So I think you only can build stuff so high. So I'm quite sure there's gonna be one of them deals where most of the stadium is kind of underground, dug underground. But it's gonna be at least for the city. Well, even though it's in Brook Park, and that was the big issue. So they actually are moving out of the city of Cleveland, but um, they're only moving like from where the old stadium was at. It's like 12 miles. Like I say, they're right across the street from the airport. So it's going to be a great thing for visiting teams. You're right there. Like I say, they're going to build hotels there. So I'm quite sure a lot of the teams probably going to stay right there. So that means you get to the airport after the game. You get to the airport in less than 5 minutes. So it's a good thing, and that should bring in more concerts. 'Cause I would think Cleveland, for some reason, we don't get a lot of major concerts here, even though you got the stadium, but don't they don't get a lot of major concerts. So maybe this change things and I must say this. I will give Jimmy Haslam this. He hasn't made the best football decisions as far as affecting the team on the field. And I know this might get me in trouble with a lot of Steeler fans, but I would love if the Roonies could be like him as far as his checkbook. And I get it. Um, they don't have the money like Jimmy Haslam has, but you have to say that he puts money, he spends money, and it's like I say, he hasn't made the best decisions or hired the best people, but you can't say that he's not trying or he doesn't spend money because he definitely spends money. Just like the Cleveland Browns practice facility. Well, it's in a city called Berea, but it's like right in the middle. When I say in the middle, it's like right in the middle of a neighborhood. So they were pretty tapped out as far as trying to expand and making it bigger. So what Haslam did, he bought like a whole block of how he bought out a whole block of houses, and now they got tons of room to expand and make that facility even bigger. I heard they pretty much got everything in there, whatever they need. So, like I say, they has them spend money. It's just maybe they're not spending it on the right things or the right people or right personnel, but you can't be mad that they do spend the money and they try to make it a first class team as far as off the field. Now, on the field is a whole another situation there. And so then the Browns are dealing with a packed quarterback room. Um, how they gonna work this out? I don't know. Got Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, and Shadur Sanders. So I mean, obviously, I think one person's gonna definitely be gone. I wouldn't be shocked if at the end of the day they might try to work out a deal to trade Kenny Pickett, especially if he has a good preseason. I could see Pickett getting traded, and that way, um, that probably would give you Flacco to at least start the season, and then if one of these rookies, because the Browns are not trying to win this year, so they're not going to have a good record. So I could see them maybe starting Flacco, and then somewhere halfway through, in the middle of the season, if one of these rookies show that they can do it. Um, Put one of those guys in, and they'll roll from there. But I really think Kenny Pickett will not be here. I think he's going to get every opportunity. I think they're going to give him every opportunity to start. But when he shows that he really can't, but probably show enough in preseason to maybe get a team to make a trade for him, I think that's what's going to happen there. And then we get to these guys, the Baltimore Ravens. So the Baltimore Ravens, they picked up Jameer Alexander, which was a great move. Again, a move that I thought the Pittsburgh Steelers would be very interested in, but apparently they wasn't. So my question is, with that move, does that give the the Ravens, the best secondary in the NFL? And I think it does. I mean, man for man, they they got a pretty good secondary. Now, with Alexander, the thing with him is can he stay healthy and stay on the field? That's kind of been his problem um the last few years, but I'm going to kind of put him in the George Pickens category of just not so much the attitude, even though he did have some discipline problems. I know one time they didn't make him a captain, but he still went out and represented himself as a captain. But you know how it is with some guys. They when they get on the bad side of the team, now my hamstring is hurting and this and that. So don't really know how hurt he really was. So this could end up being a disaster for the Ravens, or this could end up being a very good pickup. I mean, this dude is an all pro, I mean, a Pro Bowler. So I mean, the talent is there. So this might actually work out for them, and that'd be typical Ravens, typical Raven move, and that's how it usually works out for them. I wish the Steelers would be a little bit more aggressive. And now this is the type guy that I would want to sign. He's only 28. Instead of getting these 30, 31-year-old corners that you're only going to get a year, and who knows, the wheels could fall off them at any time during the season at that age. So this is a guy that they basically signed him to a prove it deal, and you'll know halfway through the season if this is a good deal. And if it's a good deal, hey, you sign him for you sign him again for a new contract, and you roll, and now you got a pretty good corner that you at least you're gonna have for at least 3 to 4 years, and that's where I think the Steelers really need to get to instead of these 1 year deal with these older guys. But enough of that. So that's pretty much it of what's going on right now. Um, just if you watch this video, just give me a like and comment, and also subscribe to the station. We're trying to grow this station a little bit. But with that said, that's pretty much it. Just wanted to jump on here and talk about a little something because, like I say, this is the dead part of the year. So um, we'll see you guys probably next week. We'll come out with something else, and before you know it, the team will be in camp. And we have a lot more content to talk about. So until then, take care, and I'll talk to you later.